Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's regular meeting of the City Commission. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any changes or amendments to the agenda this evening, gentlemen?
I have none.
I have none.
Do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 The consent agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Public hearing. Public hearing to consider condemnation of 2009 and 1/2 North Penn as dangerous and unsafe.
Mayor, this property was involved in a structure fire in May 14th of 2020. The original owners then sold the property to Omar El Shabassi, who has successfully completed renovation and passed a city HQS inspection. It is Building Department's recommendation that you accept a resolution rescinding the condemnation of this property.
Thank you, David. Any questions?
Nope.
I have none.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion. I move to adopt a resolution rescinding a previous resolution which set a hearing date to consider condemnation of 2009.5 North Penn Avenue.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Items for commission action. Consider adopting a resolution establishing rural housing incentive districts. April?
I've made my presentation. You've approved it. I'm just asking that you approve the resolution for us to submit to the Secretary of Commerce so that he can determine whether we're eligible for establishing our RHIDs. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I move the recommended resolution be adopted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, April.
One major step forward for independence. Thank you.
Good
Thank
work.
you for all your hard work, indeed. Item B, consider authorizing application for KDOT Transportation Alternatives Grant for sidewalk along the Main Street and Laurel Street to Peter Pan and Labette Health. Hi, John.
Good evening. Every year, KDOT has a transportation alternative grant program available, and this is transportation alternatives. In this case, we're looking at sidewalks. These sidewalks would go from the end of the sidewalk on Laurel Street, which is near the end of the railroad tracks. It would meet up with Main. It would also go from the end of the sidewalk at Main, which is right around the Toyota dealership, and that would carry all the way out to Peter Pan. And at Peter Pan, it would head north to Labette Health. The width of the sidewalk would be 8 feet from the Toyota dealership to the current end of the sidewalk, all the way to Peter Pan, and it would be 5 feet in the other areas.
John, I have a question for you, and that is with regard to the city portion of the matching funds here, is that to be, what is the funding source for that? Where are those monies going to come from? Special, I think, if not, if you said special use sales tax.
ADA.
ADA. The ADA portion of special use sales tax is what I heard. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. What other questions do we have of John on this project?
John, I will certainly vote for this if you want us to vote for this. I question the use of anybody's money to put sidewalks in some of those places, but there must be some traffic. Do you have any idea about what the use would be?
I don't have any particular data, but just after we started talking about this, drove right down Main, and I saw 3 people walking between Toyota and Peter Pan, just on the roadway, or actually it wasn't on the roadway, it was just off the roadway onto the grassy area under the railroad.
We've also had several ADA complaints, people trying to get to the hospital and their
Okay.
only mechanism is those scooters and they have to drive in the roadway to get there.
What other questions, gentlemen?
So, John, this is from, the sidewalk on Laurel ends pretty close proximity to the railroad tracks, right?
Yes, it just ends just to the east, and it's on the south side.
Okay.
And so we'll have to cross over to the north, either likely past the railroad tracks, cross over to the north side of the road, and then continue on. There's a very large, wide apron at the Hugo's business establishment. So a very large apron. So we elected to go to the north.
Okay. Okay. And then we'll go up to the intersection. If you're going west to east, we'll go up to the east side of the intersection on Main to Peter Pan.
It will be the west side of the intersection. So as you're driving on Laurel, it would be on this side. So it'd be when you get to Main, it would be on the west side of that intersection there.
Okay. And the 8 feet will be from
From Toyota to Peter Pan.
Peter Pan, and then the 5 foot will be from where it stops at the railroad tracks to
Yes.
Peter Pan.
And also 5 feet north
To
from Peter
Labette
Pan
Hill.
to Labette, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm good.
I move we adopt a resolution authorizing an application to KDOT for the intended purpose, for the stated purpose.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, John. Item C is to consider authorizing applications for KDOT City Connecting Link Improvement Program grants for 2 projects. The first is the pavement restoration from Main Street from 8th to 5th Street. And the second is surface preservation from 5th to 2nd. John, are you speaking to both of these?
Yes, I am. We looked at our current plan, and one of the things I want to really kind of look back on is the roads that are eligible for this KDOT program, the CCLIP. They've done a really good job with those roads. Those roads are, in many cases, in great condition. And so there are just a few areas that we need to touch on to kind of finish that work up. And Main Street, this area is one of them. Main Street really essentially to the city limits. And then also 10th Street from Main up to Chestnut, that would be also eligible. So there are a few little areas that we need to work on this. So continuing on the work that we have done on Main, and it seemed like a logical look to go from 8th Street to 5th Street with the pavement restoration project, which would replace some sidewalk as well as damaged curb and gutters. And of course, we would address the ADA ramps. And then go beyond that and go from Main Street from 5th to 2nd with some milling and overlaying to get that street as well. So that's what these 2 different projects are.
John, this is in the downtown business district. Can you tell us whether this project will completely close Main Street, or will they work the left lane and keep the right lane open, or some type of traffic control that doesn't cause a detour around the downtown?
The second project, the mill and overlay, that project is going to go very quickly, and it would actually, traffic would only be impacted during operations. It'd be similar to the mill and overlay that was just completed this summer when we were working out at Peter Pan in Maine. So that took place over the course of, traffic was disrupted over the course of 2 weeks or less. And traffic was open during that entire time period. The the pavement restoration has a mill and overlay as well. So again, you're going to see that on the pavement restoration piece, that will shut things down, but again, only during the course of construction operations, except for the times and places where we are replacing the sidewalk. So the sidewalk will cut down pedestrian access, but just like our current restoration, we'll maintain pedestrian access through temporary surfacing during the construction period, except for when we can't. So when they're physically removing the sidewalk or getting ready to replace the sidewalk with new sidewalk, getting ready to form it, pour it, and cure it, business access will be maintained.
So only during very limited periods would the traffic detour completely around the downtown area?
Yes, and this will be less disruptive than our current project.
You're talking about the one that's from 8th to 10th Street?
Yes.
Okay. I would hope so. Thank you very much. Any questions from you, gentlemen?
Yeah, John, on reading this description here, it says replace 7th, 6th, and 5th Street intersection with concrete.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and during those periods, there will be a shutdown of those intersections.
Okay.
So you'll still be able to, again, as long as construction operations aren't taking place on the roadways, you'll still be able to drive to the businesses, but you may not be able to. So for instance, if you were going to, I'm trying to think of a business that's right there. If you were going to drive to a business that's at Penn and Main, you would have to pull in, and then you would have to turn around and come back out the way you'd gone in during the time when those intersections were being replaced.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's all I have.
I have nothing else.
Thank you, John. Gentlemen, do I have a motion to, on the first pavement restoration action?
Yep. I move to approve application for KDOT CLIP Pavement Restoration Program for Main Street from 8th to 5th Street and for execution of any necessary documents required by KDOT.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Is there a motion on the second surface preparation?
Yes. I move to approve application for KDOT's CLIP Surface Preservation Program for Main Street from 5th to 2nd Street and for execution of any necessary documents required by KDOT.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item D, consider adopting a resolution authorizing financing for projects and authorizing the sale of bonds. Lacey?
This item is a revamp of a previously approved CIP authorization for bond financing that we did back in, I believe, July of last year. What this does is it sets limits for different projects that have the potential to be financed with bond dollars. So we have included in that all of the current and anticipated street projects as well as facility projects. And what this does is it just says any of these projects are eligible for bond financing. And then we will come back to you with a sale resolution when we actually intend to go out for bond financing.
My understanding is that you will also return to us if this maximum needs to be exceeded. Is that correct?
Yes, so I had them go ahead and put in a maximum because I didn't want panic that, oh, this is a giant list of, I can't remember the exact total, but it's well over what we intend to finance because it's total project cost. And a lot of these projects have grant funds that will significantly lower, the city's portion. But since this is just the capital improvement plan, I wanted to show the gross amount of the project costs in the resolution. So I did set a maximum in there.
Gentlemen, what questions do you have for Lacey?
I have none.
No, basically, as the grants come in, that total will change, so, and you specify how that special use sales tax that was passed, how it's allocated, so
Yes.
we're just giving you the authority to move forward with this, and you'll be back.
Yes. When we go out to actually sell the bonds, yes,
Okay.
we will be back.
Okay. I'm good.
Thank you, Lacey.
I move the adoption of a resolution authorizing financing for the projects listed and for authorizing the sale of bonds.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Reports, February 22 Public Works Report. Let's see. John, are you speaking to us?
Yes, indeed. Of course, of any of the projects, if the commission has a question on any of them, please let me know. I have selected 4 to discuss because they have, I guess I would call them kind of some significant milestones that have been met. First is the waterline meter project. The 90% plan review did occur. And so we do have 90% plans, which means we're relatively close to being able to bid that work. The Enterprise Drive, we did hold the pre-construction conference, and the contractor will be working on that fairly soon. There will be a period of time, we don't have this scheduled as of right now. There will be a time when Laurel Street is shut down at Hackney. You'll be able to access everything, but you may have to come from a different direction. There will be a period of time when that shutdown is, and we will communicate that with the public and also with the local businesses when that shutdown period occurs. KDOT Maple Street cost share, that project construction has started and is moving along. I haven't heard of any significant issues. And the last project on the list is number 16, 10th and Main. And that project, the pre-construction was held, and that construction will be starting next week, as long as there wasn't any weather delay. They called for their locates, so that work will be starting relatively rapidly. So those were the 4 projects I wanted to discuss. Additionally, I know there are several items that have been brought up as of interest to the commission. So did want to talk to we do have the request for proposal for the energy balance work at Building D. Again, that should save 20% or so on our on the electricity bill there. And that RFP is complete, should be posted, and we should be opening bids on March 18th. It's not anticipated that awarding of those bids will require commission action. So, but I'll report back on it and let you know what we found out. Memorial Hall maintenance. We did look previously at doing some work in Memorial Hall related to the rigging. Right now that scope has greatly decreased, and thank you, especially Mr. McHugh. Oh, he's not here. But that scope has greatly decreased, and I'll report back as to what we have. There are also some other maintenance items related to normal building upkeep that I'll report back on.
Thank you.
Library maintenance, there are a couple library projects, and we'll get those listed and budgeted. And items that will be added on this list for next month, the parking lot north of the historic City Hall, the communication tower, and also the evidence building. So we will track those projects separately, and they will be a part of this report, so that you can ask any sort of questions that you might want on those. So that's all I had.
That's a lot, John, but just as a note, and that is that as we begin these projects and approach beginning these projects, if they are going to be disruptive, we do a good job of communicating the disruption to the public. That's my concern. So,
Absolutely understood.
okay, thank you. Questions?
Nope.
John, the work that was scheduled for Memorial Hall, the replacement of the doors and all that, has that been completed?
No, oh, that has been? Okay. I haven't got the list yet for Memorial Hall of the things yet to do, so.
Okay, okay. Pretty much done.
Yeah, the Heckman work that we did last year has been completed.
Okay,
And
good.
we're putting together a list of items, now that John has found significant savings on the rigging, to get some more work done here. So John will be bringing that back here shortly.
All right, good.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
2021 City Accomplishments Report.
The report was included in your agenda packet, and I'm pretty proud of our employees and our for all the work that they have done, and just appreciate the support of the commission. I reduced all the slides down to about a 1.5-minute video. Back in the old days, we had every department head speak on each of their items, and I didn't think you wanted to be here a couple hours, so we
Yeah.
shortened it, and it is available to view on the website as well.
Well, thank you, Kelly, and of course, thanks to all of the city staff for a fantastic 2021. We really did accomplish a lot, and it would be impossible without the stellar efforts of the staff. So thanks to them. Please pass that along to them for us.
And I'd also like to do a shout out to our city boards. They were very active this year. Planning and Zoning and Economic Development, and the some of the boards that David works with, they were very busy and got a lot accomplished as well. And those are all volunteers, so
Yeah.
we appreciate them.
Indeed. Well, thank you so very much. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I've got.
City Board minutes, any comments on the Rec Commission minutes that we have, gentlemen?
I have none.
City Manager comments.
I don't have any tonight.
Any commissioner comments this evening?
You know, actually, I do, and I guess I speak as the newcomer to this group, somebody that I thought, being a person that I thought knew a lot about the city. In the last month, I have learned what I didn't know, and I think there's a lot more to learn. I'm just, and Kelly's report of what's taken place over the last year, I wish everybody could read it, or at least browse it, because it's kind of overwhelming. How much is accomplished by a relatively small staff that works very hard. Yesterday, I've been going out to Labette for some treatments, and day before yesterday, for the first time, I approached from the north. And anybody who hasn't approached Labette Health from the north should do it, because it is amazing what is happening with that FedEx property there. And the city staff was very, very active in making that happen. And I think it's something like a $24 million project that's going to be a boom for this town. And for those people who sit around and say the city never does anything, please drive south from Oak south on Peter Pan Road, because it'll blow your mind what's going on out there. For that, I commend the staff.
Well, we thank you.
Well done. It's been very interesting watching that project come together.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
I saw on John's list of projects some of the things that the city is going to be working on independent of the construction projects that are being led by McCowan, Gordon, and I was wondering if who's working on future alternatives for the temporary city hall. Is there anyone actively developing alternatives for us for that?
What we would like to do is have a committee put together to brainstorm that, to try to get the best economic development use out of that property for the community. So that would be our suggestion.
And do you think the Economic Development Advisory Board would be the right group to start with there?
Yes, I would suggest that they select a subcommittee, and it would be good if, along with staff, if we had a commissioner that participated in that.
Well, since I brought it up, I would be willing to participate.
Okay, they have a meeting coming up, and I will add that to their agenda to select a subcommittee, and they can bring some ideas back to you, back to this group.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you. Public concerns, David, we have any this evening? Well, I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you for attending this evening's meeting. Have a good night.
It's a 2022 record.